Mr. Vikram Bharat. Before I take the next contributor, two announcements. Today, the Honorable Member, Mr. James Bond, is celebrating his birthday. Congratulations, Mr. Bond, on behalf of all of us in the National Assembly. And secondly, we are going to continue to conclusion. There are some refreshments that just arrived, so you can, as we continue to complete the list of speakers during this session, you can migrate downstairs and return to the Assembly. Honorable Member, Mr. Riaz Rupnarain, for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I address the Honorable House on the 2026 budget, I seek your indulgence to underscore the importance of today's delivery as my maiden speech to this noble assembly. I am the second person to come from Jackalope Pomeroon River since 1977 as an elected member of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, the journey reminds me of two enduring truths. First, what God has ordained for you will only come when it is destined to happen. And secondly, Mandela describes it better. Education is the greatest weapon you can use to change the world. And Mr. Speaker, I must express gratitude to the persons who placed their confidence and vote and made my presence in this honorable house possible. To the APNU supporters, and more particularly to the leader and comrades of the People's National Congress Reform. I have been elected by a few, but to represent all. From Pomeroon to Parliament. Mr. Speaker, it is precisely because of that responsibility to all Guyanese that I now turn to the matter before the House, the 2026 budget. A budget is not merely a financial document. It is a statement of priorities. I give acknowledgement to the honorable member. My mother taught me to always show respect to the elderly and those who are especially need. This budget of $1.558 trillion is the largest in the nation's history. Now, we would have wanted real transformation beyond infrastructure, bringing relief to working class people of this country, and represent fairness as it looks to put people first. Unfortunately, majority of it does not. Mr. Speaker, what we're seeing is a budget heavily weighted in infrastructure with far less attention to poverty reduction, reducing the cost of living, improving the lives of working class and vulnerable groups. Mr. Speaker, let me be lucid. The budget will be spent on the people. It is a Guyanese budget. It is the largest in our history. So then monies will be injected into the economy. But my argument lies in who will be reaping the majority of the benefit. Is it those that need it, or is it those that want it? Mr. Speaker, it is not about aggregate figures, but the impact it will directly have on the individual and the family, on every individual, as the honorable members of the opposite side would have indicated. And before I proceed, I must share a WhatsApp message that I received before coming to the podium from a member of the Regional Democratic Council of Anna Regina, a non-supporter of the opposition, mind you, stating, please try and back up that we get more than $2,500 salary increase. Buy nothing for salary worker, like me fed up. It is to highlight that everybody stating that each individual will benefit. Mr. Speaker, during the course of yesterday and early today, the members of parliament indicated that the budget is the best for all groups, of all people. But coincidentally, when everyone approached the podium, they kept repeating a few pension benefits, a few social benefits, repeatedly like a broken record. It's the same program that has received additional funding. That is why they have limited resource or limited statement to add for something new. Mr. Speaker, the increase in the income tax threshold removes just over 5,000 persons from the tax register. 5,000 persons out of a national labor force, which requires more than over 90% still remain on that taxation system. Now, this translates to $2,500, not even a fraction of what the cost of living is in particular areas. And I've heard, especially this morning, that government members of parliament admitting that they are aware of the cost of certain commodities in far-flung area, and yet to intentionally sit and still plan the budget without catering for that is a temerity to be callous. Mr. Speaker, according to the IDB annual report, food prices have risen by 8.2% last year, August. Mr. Speaker, the mantra will be $2,500 better than anything. So let's look at the track record. Let's go 4 years before, 2022 budget presented by the same government members of parliament. $552.9 billion. The tax threshold was increased by 10,000 as well. Mr. Speaker, ultimately, same story, different day. Mr. Speaker, with all of this, they will say the budget benefits everybody, and we are lying. The budget has the numbers, but it lacks the priorities. Mr. Speaker, while the 10,000 increase for 10-day workers is a step forward, it reflects a short-term response to a long-standing structural issue. Many of these workers have given years of service under the 10-day program, but they yet remain without pension security or consistent NIS payment that will allow them to have access to broader social protection at present and beyond retirement. A stipend does not address the long-term problem. Mr. Speaker, we welcome development. We support infrastructure that advances Guyana. But development must mean more than concrete and contracts. It must mean that all citizens can afford the basic necessities. All citizens. Distribution must be focused not on equality, but also on equity. Mr. Speaker, I am well aware that the mere mention of poverty often invites immediate dismissal from the government members of parliament, as though acknowledging hardship is an act of disloyalty, particularly the IDB report, which has been constantly repeated. I can recall, I looked to see the government official, so I can't call his name in the parliament, mentioned on social media that the IDB report was supported by the labor force survey done in 2021, which means that the data is not relevant or it is inaccurate to draw a conclusion on an IDB's report. Mr. Speaker, the labor force survey is conducted by Guyana's own Bureau of Statistics. If the most current comprehensive poverty indicators available are not current, it is not the fault of the IDB. It is the fault of the National Data Management Committee. $1 trillion economy cannot operate on blind spot. We cannot consistently use poverty as a debating point. It should be a national priority. Mr. Speaker, several ministers in their speeches on social media and in public forums have indicated Guyana's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals. But what about Goal 1, the eradication of poverty? Goal 10, the reduction of inequality? All must be committed to, not some. Mr. Speaker, assistance to students is always welcome. We do not oppose any help for children, particularly children, the elderly, and those who are differently able. However, a uniformed education grant treats unequal situation as though it is equal. A child traveling from Lower Pomeroon River to attend Charity Secondary School, which is the closest secondary school to their area, has to pay at approximately $2,000 per day. That is $390,000 per academic year. Taking into consideration if that family has 2 or more children attending the high school. Mr. Speaker, the residents in Pomeroon have indicated that at some days they have to make a decision of who to send and who to stay home. That is not the eradication of poverty. Mr. Speaker, the government has a boat that provides transportation for these students to the secondary school. The government, the boat cannot or does not carry all the students. Policy that ignores differences is just for visibility, not for transformation. Mr. Speaker, there are several instances, and if the minister so require, I can provide the details of same, where the students were told by the boat operator, facilitated by the council of the NDC, that they cannot travel in the school boat because their parents voted for an opposition party. As I indicated earlier, the information can be provided to the relevant ministry if requested. But to obey the rules of the parliamentary process, I will not call names without their presence. I just said you can have it, the honorable member. Mr. Speaker, as a teacher, I can tell you light travels faster than some. And sometimes some persons look intelligent until you hear them speak. Mr. Speaker, this budget not only fails to address some domestic issues, but foreign policy issues as well. On matters of foreign relations, sovereignty and national security, there is no government of Guyana or opposition of Guyana. There is only Guyana. It is our national interest. We stand on Guyana's territorial integrity and sovereignty, and we support any measures to solidify this. But it must be in tangent with the interests of Guyanese people. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs allocations increased by 10% in the 2026 budget for Program 121. This is a crucial aspect, primarily as the ministry aims to develop foreign policy to target the Guyana-Venezuela territorial controversy in particular. Mr. Speaker, I anticipate at the speech of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, a foreign policy framework will be given after a 6-year cycle on Guyana's strategic priorities, the obligations that we have under bilateral and multilateral agreement, and our social and security implications of those agreements that we have signed thus far. This becomes necessary because of the plethora of international events that have occurred over the past months, primarily with the absence of a parliamentary sectoral committee on foreign relations. Mr. Speaker, the minister will obviously say, as he did in his 2025-2024 speeches, that he inherited an incoherent foreign policy from the former administration. 6 years later, on multiple budget cycle, there has to be one provided by the now office bearer. Mr. Speaker, in Program 121, the third strategy identifies education and awareness of the territorial controversy, of the Guyana-Venezuela territorial controversy. But how is this effectively being done? What are the indicators? Are the target groups? How is it being implemented, especially for areas like the Pomeroon River, Bartica, Lethem, and other border communities? In 2024, the Minister of Foreign Affairs indicated that training will resume after a hiatus, apparently because of the pandemic as well. Mr. Speaker, awareness cannot be an abstract line item. These citizens deserve explanation, reassurance, and inclusion, not silence. More than that, there is nothing in the budget to incentivize our border communities and bring calm to reassure them. Our bordering communities must be treated as an important part of foreign policy. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs need to work in collaboration with the Ministry of Education to ensure that all students are aware of the history and that they're intellectually ready to protect our country's sovereignty when they hold these offices that we presently occupy. Mr. Speaker, we must not assume that a simple program done when our borders are being threatened or a Patriotic Day significance is done on a program to pacify and curb the anxiety of the people, especially those residing in the county of Essequibo. Mr. Speaker, at present, the Caribbean Examination Council is revising the CSEC history and Cape history syllabi. It is paramount that both ministries ensure that the Guyana-Venezuela territorial controversy is added to those syllabi. This will ensure that not only the Guyanese students, but the Caribbean students are aware of the right we have to Essequibo. Mr. Speaker, we need to train the teachers to implement the program and also to provide the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to facilitate personnel to travel to border communities with information and at the level that they understand, and not the fancy terminology or the protocols that are established in diplomacy on a program assuming that they all have access to it. The people need their attention to be pacified. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs said in his 2025 budget speech that ministries are working together to achieve the 2030 SDG agenda. The same must be done for national interests. We have Caribbean history teachers at the 11th hour asking students to change their SBA topic because they are unable to grade a paper on the territorial controversy. Mr. Speaker, this is an indicator that education and awareness are not being done effectively. Having a couple of television programs in the city will not curb the situation. Mr. Speaker, the opposition is deeply concerned about the perception of Guyana's foreign policy becoming more reactive and less proactive. And don't take my word for it. As two of the Guyanese students who were studying in Jamaica under CSEC scholarship would have indicated to the media outlets when Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica, that learning lesson for the government is to establish proactive, comprehensive plans for future emergencies affecting Guyanese students abroad. Guyana must cooperate internationally, but cooperation must never be compliance without consent.
Okay, I need a consent of the House so you can conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the honourable member be given 5 minutes to conclude his presentation.
Thank you, Honorable MP. You may proceed to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, the penultimate speaker of yesterday's debate highlighted the need to work collectively for the greater good of this country and represent those who have elected us. I agree fully. But this cooperation must be collectively done. For Parliament is too often informed about decisions after they have already been made, rather than consulted beforehand. I conclude on a worrisome note, Mr. Speaker, that the budget gives most people significant desire, which is the freedom of speech and expression. That freedom is only allowed when it is in favor of the government. When people speak up against what they experience, they are persecuted. Yes, Mr. Speaker, persecuted. Ask communities like Lima Sands that the ground is only allowed to be used by their party supporters, and people are fearful to inform the relevant authority because they do not want to lose access to the only income that they have. Their party supporters guard as though transport has been given to those persons, and in some cases, even they spend social aid. Mr. Speaker, fear. That is how we have some of our people. Fearful and submissive, they must demonstrate godlike gratitude to government for things that the state has given them, that the state is mandated to give them, that they as Guyanese, as taxpayers, as natives of this land are entitled to. Mr. Speaker, this will also be claimed to be lies. But let me remind the honorable member that at the close of yesterday's debate, your own member of parliament stood and stated that pensioners should be thankful for the increase because it is a supplement they did not work for. I guess that too was AI. It is sad when our elders have to beg to be cared for.
It's a 12% increase. It's a 12% increase.
Whatever makes you sleep at night. The ministers cannot ask for feedback and impact. They need to verify data for themselves, because ultimately it's the staff's job, but your accountability. You can't keep the staff, and when the incompetence is exposed, you throw the staff under the bus. Mr. Speaker, I average it is easier to dismiss it completely, cover it with election rhetoric, rather than seeking to solve the problem for our people. Mr. Speaker, a common phrase that people say when you traverse areas, especially at Charity in Pomeroon, is that even the foreigners are treated better than them, and we are second-class citizens in our own country. Mr. Speaker, $1 trillion plus budget is not an achievement if most of the people still remain poor. Thank you.